Just a couple of weeks into the Wyatt Sicks storyline, which has brought in a lot of attention and speculation, WWE has shown that they're going to take a very interesting and hopefully different approach to what we're used to seeing. The story is a different beast altogether now, without the late great Bray Wyatt involved, but expectations through the roof for this group of misfits that have come together with Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt's real-life brother. It's a compelling storyline that took a wild turn on the June 24th, 2024 episode of WWE Raw. Let's get into it. Why is this going in a very deep, emotional direction? This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin. Let us know what you think is gonna happen with the Wyatt Sicks and Bo Dallas. Yes, we want to hear your speculation in the comments below, and while you scroll down there, hit that like button as well. Most fans knew that Bo Dallas, someone who was in WWE before and had some success in NXT, but was really just a lower mid-card name, was the man behind the Uncle Howdy spooktacular mask and persona, which was a part of Bray Wyatt's unfortunately short second run in WWE. But nobody expected his face to be shown and his genuine emotions to really come front and center in this way recently on WWE television. For those of you who missed it, 1 week after the Wyatt Sicks made their spectacular arrival on Raw, bloodying people backstage, Nikki Cross crawled out of the mist and fog and handed something that looked like a damaged package to Michael Cole at the commentary table on Monday Night Raw. It's now a relic of the past, or at least for our younger audience, a VHS tape. Yeah, the Gen X millennials watching may remember renting those to watch WWE pay-per-views from BrainBuster. Yes, that is a dated reference. But back to the contents of that VHS tape. The tape would reveal later on in Raw an interview between Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas. Yes, two characters portrayed by one person. Yeah, and we haven't seen Bo Dallas's face on WWE television for 3 years. It's a scene that on paper is kind of outlandish and can only be shown through post-production, but it felt like it was absolutely in the place that's really out there in terms of tones with everything that comes from the Wyatt verse. The interview unveiled a gripping motivation of the new Wyatt Sicks initiative from the central player in this still unproven but widely talked about faction. When Uncle Howdy menacingly asked Bo Dallas, "How did it feel when you lost your brother Bray?" Dallas said he felt like the most important thing in his life had been taken away from him. When Uncle Howdy asked Bo Dallas if he felt like he was exploiting his brother's legacy, it got an audible gasp from the arena audience, and millions captivated watching around the world. With everyone on pins and needles, Bo's response oozed conviction. It oozed resentment when he said simply that all he ever wanted was to be like his brother. Nobody felt this loss of Bray Wyatt harder than Bo Dallas, he shared, and in an attempt not to become a mausoleum, he and the 5 others made everybody remember who they were. This is clearly Bo Dallas's best promo performance to date, and before questions poured in, he said, "I am nobody." Something Bray said 9 years earlier on WWE television. As the conversation concluded, a shot panned out, showing Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy sitting across from one another in different poses, yet mirroring each other in some way. Because, yeah, they are one and the same, but obviously different dimensions of the same vessel. What we saw hinted that Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Sicks want to continue Bray Wyatt's journey, legacy, and evolve the magic and mysticism that he presented before in a new way. But here's the thing, Bo Dallas is not Bray Wyatt, and that's going to become an important part of the story as it unfolds.
Stand back, there's a new wrestling quiz coming through. Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
From the second Bray Wyatt stepped foot on the WWE main roster, it was clear that he was something special. He was like nobody else in wrestling. He didn't need to be a 6-foot-something jacked or spectacular muscle-bound performer. He wasn't the common handsome guy you see on television. But he had an appeal to an audience of millions. He had an aura that took him very, very far. While the story of WWE just maybe not hitting the potential of Bray Wyatt's potential is something else in and of itself, Bo Dallas' story has been quite different. For Bo, it's been a career of just being there, being an enhancement, being a mechanic, being a utility player to move the ball with someone else down the line. We bet many of you may not even know that he was the third ever WWE NXT champion. This one interview segment has changed the perception of Bo Dallas completely within the WWE. He was a part of a very different WWE system in the past where he had to fulfill his role and wasn't seen as anything more than maybe a comedic side player, a complimentary supporting player. This story can give Bo Dallas a new lease on a different level and a different career in WWE. Something that WWE is also very careful in the way that they're handling it right now, even before it ever got on television. Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Sicks are characters with a story that needs to be told slowly, organically, and methodically over the coming weeks and months and who knows how long. Maybe even years if they get enough legs underneath this thing. There could be a lot of hype and people wanting to see what they're competing for. Is it a world title? Is it a WWE championship? Is it, as they've already displayed, more personal issues? But we're not even sure that's the right move to make right now. Only time will tell. But WWE needs to avoid rushing this story and pushing it to the front and center of all WWE programming before it's ready. Rather than just capitalizing on the momentum, WWE needs to realize there's a risk this story and character could completely fizzle out if it's rushed. Yes, let them cook, but let's slow burn this thing. When there are such high expectations, the chances of a quick decrease in interest are equally high. And I'm calling out young fans who have a fickle, give it to me now, but I want the big payoff that doesn't come without time. The Wyatt Sicks is obviously a direct tribute to Bray Wyatt and a continuation of his story. But some things have to change and evolve in their own direction. In a recent conversation over on the Wrestle Binge channel from Sportskeeda Wrestling with former WWE writer John Ryman, he said it was very special that the idea of Wyatt's magic is now being handed down to another player. Almost like if there was another Undertaker who got to carry on his powers in some way. And that creates an even more challenging question. How do you balance the fans' demand to feel all of Bray's influence in the present with this new faction, while also growing these fresh, anticipated characters as their own ghoulish conquerors? The issue Bray faced in his time in WWE, apart from losing big matches, was the fact that he was more often than not cutting a similar type of promo every time. The reason why people overlooked that is because he was simply so good and charismatic. The Riz was big with him. Yeah, he could make anybody enamored with him. With Bo and the Wyatt Sicks, there might need to be a presentation style of less is more in an approach. So while he's Bray Wyatt's brother, WWE needs to avoid making him an absolute direct copy of Bray Wyatt. Yeah, you don't want people getting that type of idea. When we say that, we mean Bo or Uncle Howdy shouldn't mirror move for move, word for word Bray Wyatt and everything that he did, because it kind of lacks originality. It would leave a lot to be desired there. Instead, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, needs to be presented as someone who has Bray Wyatt's ideals, has his spirit and how they perform and execute their intentions in the present and moving forward. And that's where the story can get really interesting. It'll be something fresh and new, a take on what we feel and have a connection to emotionally, but evolve and make its own way and run and gallop into a field of weird spookiness that is all its own. Perhaps it's going to involve a lot more violence and a lot less talking. Yes, actions sometimes are louder than a long promo, right? But because Bo isn't his brother, and he doesn't need to be, stop saying he needs to be, WWE needs to work on playing his strengths, which are quite likely going to be a lot of different things. When you say he's a lot by being very little, that's not bad either. That's another part of that whole aura thing. Some of you guys need to stop playing these words out, by the way. I see you in the comments. Also, WWE needs to avoid overexposing the whole group and being very selective when they make appearances, who their targets are, everything they do to maintain the feeling of something special. And most importantly, we cannot emphasize this enough, Bo Dallas and WWE need to make sure it doesn't lose in big important matches. When the bell rings, these guys need to wreck people. Uncle Howdy shouldn't be losing at all unless there's an actual valid reason for him to suffer a defeat if it's a loss that helps further a story. But this is also the challenge of anyone going up against Bray Wyatt and The Fiend in the past, so maybe the losses have to be very specific and be very beneficial. And so WWE needs to avoid putting Bo Dallas anywhere near a championship for at least a year or more. Yeah, that would give it a little bit of room. We saw one incredible piece of character work as Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy in this most recent interview segment, but they're gonna have to continue to deliver like that and even more. This is going to be a collective effort from WWE top to bottom in creative writing, production skills, and of course the performers on the screen. And it is a storyline that is going to be feeling the pressure of the hardcore and casual fans. If WWE continues to approach the long game here like they have in storylines with Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and the Bloodline over the past couple years, then it's going to be nothing short of magical. What do you think is going to happen with the Wyatt Sicks? We asked you. You watched this long? Come on, give us a little ticky-tappy on the keyboard there in the comments below.